I'm Anna and I'm an educator, both in the outdoors and around sustainability.
I'm Wayne and I'm a videographer and I make films, and I'm also mostly a dad.
Our sons are Eli and Nifa. Eli is the eldest and Nifa is our youngest.
I wore Eli right at the beginning, and the reason I did that was because it was just really easy, actually. It was probably one of the biggest things. Also, he was nice and close, which was a good place to have him, because I knew what he was up to then.
Okay, so my motivation for wanting to make this is that I really like to see it as something that's, again, handed down from mother to daughter or sister to sister, or shared amongst the village, that the information is there, that people know it, like they would have used to have known it.
I knew Anna was very passionate about it and really wanted to get it out there, and we just both knew that the more people that wear their children, the better, really, for the world. Get people connected.
So yeah, we wanted to create it in a way that it could be available to as many people as possible, so keeping the costs down.
In practice with wearing the boys, I just found it, same reasons again, like I knew where they were. I knew they were happy, especially once we got into wearing a, it was a ring sling, wasn't it? But it had a buckle. I should probably know what it is, but once I started using that, and it was on the shoulder, and then I could have Eli or Nifa just sitting on my hip, and they could just watch whatever I was doing. It was really cool, like if I was cooking or something, or even, working out in the shed, they could be involved. They knew what was going on, they were learning what I was doing, and they're really calm and happy, content. Otherwise, if they're on the floor, maybe they were fighting a little bit, or just getting up to something, into something.
For me, just what I've learnt since we've been making this video about the benefits of baby wearing, I kind of realised why it felt so right. Just all the stuff around regulating their temperature and heart rate and breathing, so important when they're newborn and even more important when they're premature. And also holding them close in a way that they can hear you talking and see your mouth moving and be involved in a conversation if they want to be. In terms of language development, that's amazing. But then they can shy away if they want to as well, tuck themselves into you if they're facing in, and go to sleep or just tune out and have that time out, so they can monitor their own stimulation levels as well. And I just feel like babies expect to be held. That's something that is in their biology from thousands and thousands of years ago, and it's only the last few hundred years that our culture has changed in that way. So that expectation's still there for a baby, and I think holding them often and still being able to get stuff done means that they feel secure, and it's easy to meet their needs in the present moment when they're so close, and that helps them to trust you. They trust that their needs are going to be met. And basically I think we need more confident, secure, trusting people in the world. So I'd like to see more babies being born to contribute towards that.
I'm Mandy and this is Peter. That's Romero and that's Aria. He's the oldest and she's second, and this is the youngest. I started Snuggles Baby Carriers when Romero was a few months old. I purchased a front pack from Baby City. I think there was not much selection back then. I think there was only that one, and it had really thick padded straps and buckles, and I had him in, and I think he was facing out, and it really hurt my back. And then a couple months later, my mother came back from China and brought back a Meitai, and showed me how to use it. I was young then, and I was 20-something, and I thought, that's really flimsy and not as comfortable as these modern Meitais out there, so I thought maybe we should start making Meitais and selling them in New Zealand. My mum, this is how she uses it. I mean, that's how they all use these carriers. Is no knots. They just go over, really no knots, over, and then with these straps. I mean, because they are so thin, you can do lots with them. She just puts these two together and then these two together and does this, and then tucks these under a few times, and then something like that. But my mum did it really quickly with both Romero and Aria. When I put the babies, I took the babies up to her place and she just put them on and continue with her cooking. It was just so quick.
Our first trip to Hong Kong was it was a carrier fest. We really relied on those carriers. They got us through. A trip to Hong Kong, especially the travelling part, you are basically standing 80% of the time. You're standing on a train, you're standing when you're walking on the street, and so holding 1 to 2 year old children in your hands all day is not going to fly, so the carriers were invaluable.
Lots
I remember
of walking.
that trip.
Yeah, lots of walking amongst lots of people.
I was initially opposed to the idea of wearing a baby carrier. I think Mandy was certainly more keen on the idea. She really brought the idea of wearing baby carriers into the family. Initially I saw it as a little bit of a hassle, but once I actually had the kid on my back, strapped up, it was very comfortable, and the freedom with which I could move around, get out and about, and do things was great. And the kids never complained once they're on my back. It was quite amazing, really. I think over time it grows on you, but the main benefit is just how comfortable it is. You can wear them for a long time and not really feel tired or anything, so it's quite amazing. I think in terms of the relationship between me and my children that Metai Baby Carriers has helped produce is that you're spending more time with them. They're closer to you more often, more of the time, and you're kind of out and about doing active things with them. So I think the benefits are pretty obvious. The more time you spend with your kids is obviously a good thing.
I'm Bryony, and this is my baby son Takiwai and my husband Matt.
Hi.
And we also have an older son, Graham, who's playing up on the street. We are living in Byron Bay in Australia. We've moved out of Dunedin. Yeah, but we've just moved over here for a bit more sunshine and surfing and just a lifestyle that really suits us and the kids.
Either Ergo was great for travelling on the plane. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
And just getting
and
our
the
baggage
airports.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Yeah. By that stage he was on the back.
Yeah.
So that was just totally easy. Chuck him on the back, carry on.
Yeah.
So we began carrying our kids right from the start. When our big boy was born, I put him straight in the, the long wraparound style carrier. Matt and I both used that, and yeah, it was lovely. It was a lovely way to, and made life so much easier, just to be able to strap him on, go to the supermarket. And it was really nice actually when he was really young, because especially the supermarket's got all the big fluoro lights and everything you're out in town, it's also intense and loud, and it was really nice to just have him tucked up there with the little bit over his head, so he was just like hiding away in there in the pouch, just I felt really good that he was protected, his senses were protected. So
As far as like my relationship with the kids, it just pulls us closer, of course, because you got that nice close physical contact. So yeah, it's heart to heart really. Yeah.
Yeah, and also it takes the pressure off you as a parent, because if you've got things to do, you can just carry on and baby doesn't feel left out. Baby's just strapped on, carry forth, it's a really positive, healthy way to be.
One of the most important things, like when you're a parent, is that your kid's happy, your child's happy, so and they're always really happy in the pack, so it's been great like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did it feel good?
Did you like it?
Yes. You feel comfy?
Graham still wants to go on it. Every so often I give him a turn in the Ergo on my back just for like 5 minutes or something. I would say to anybody who may be considering wearing their baby, anyone who may be pregnant, thinking about it, it actually makes life easier. It's not like, oh, I've got to carry my baby everywhere. It makes life a lot easier. You've got a happy baby. You can carry on with your, your household chores, whatever it is you have to do, and just get a really supportive, comfy one, and yeah, go for it, for sure.
My name is Nick Duval Smith, and when we first had children, I was a practicing artist and a coffee roaster, and now I'm a kindergarten teacher.
And my name is Tracy Boddicker, and I became a mother and a midwife simultaneously. So just soon after I gave birth to our first daughter, I graduated as a midwife.
The reason we wore our babies was, it's a bit of a long story really, but Trace introduced me to a book called The Continuum Concept, and so much of that book just made so much sense to me that it was a natural progression from the theories in there to the practicality of wearing our babies in a sling.
And we chose to use a ring sling to carry our babies, mainly because that was what was around for us at the time. We knew a family who were just in the process of getting production up and running with the ring sling. And they were almost ready, but not quite. So we were blessed to borrow the pattern and make our own ring sling. We went and got the strong rings and the fabric and had it all made up for us. And so we used what is really a prototype of the third arm ring sling.
We used this for about 5 years, and then our kids used it as well for carrying their dolls around.
Yeah, it's well worn.
One of the main things for me about using the ring sling was getting that top rail tight, and I really notice it now when I see other people using them incorrectly, and that because you can see them, they're holding the baby in with their other arm, and if you have to do that with your arm, then you haven't got that top rail tight enough. The baby's not close in enough, and when the baby's close in, it feels more comfortable, but also they're effectively lighter. They're not cantilevering off your body, plus you've got both arms to use, which is the whole point of wearing a baby.
So the key things for me with the ring sling was the upright positioning. That always felt really right for me, that I could secure them into that position. Even with Ruby at a 34-weeker, only 5 pounds, she went straight into the upright position. I only really dropped them into that sort of hammock style if I was breastfeeding in the sling, which came a bit later. The other really important thing was recognising that the over the shoulder bit had to be over your shoulder and not on your neck, and because that's really uncomfortable, and that's when you're sort of hanging your child off your neck and terrible. So really making sure that you slip that bit out over your shoulder, I think, is fundamental. So Mila was born at home in the water, full term, healthy baby, everything we dreamed of, and Ruby decided that she wanted to come out a bit early after some major complications. So then we had some time in the intensive care unit, and again our principles and understanding of keeping her close really carried strong, and we did pretty much 24/7 kangaroo care with her, which meant that we got her home a lot sooner than would have been normal, and that she did pretty well from that point. She had problems with her gut though, I think from the prematurity, possibly from other things as well, and so she screamed. Some people call it colic, I call it screaming baby syndrome. It was very, very intense, and again being able to carry her through those times and just generally having her close and ready for that was kind of fundamental to getting her through that, and luckily that subsided when she was about 6 months old. Yeah.
The only thing that really seemed to work was putting Ruby in the sling and taking her for a brisk long walk at all sorts of strange times of the day and night, and yeah, like a long, hard, pounding walk, and that seemed to help kind of settle her. It certainly helped us anyway.
Yeah. And I remember those moments where you would meet people and you would have your baby on and they'd all be like, oh, and like other people get that sense of rightness as well, because back then it wasn't around very much. We were a bit novel in that sense, and you did get a lot of that, oh, that's really cool, what are you doing that for your baby with? And feeling the way that people connected to that. And I really noticed when I had my babies or my toddler here and I was having conversations with people, that felt really good to have them right there, but they weren't right in the middle of it. They could kind of choose to engage, or they could just tuck in if they wanted to. Ruby was the tuck in. And as I've learnt more and more and more about baby brain development, or the brain development of young children, I get just how perfect that is for them to be able to listen and hear and engage at their own level, as opposed to if I'm having a conversation with someone while their kid's in a pushchair, they're completely separate from that, and it's a very different kind of experience. So that, I think, from a brain development perspective, I think is really right.
The reason that I wanted to share this information is that having our children in a sling just felt so right. It just worked really well, and it felt good emotionally. Yeah, it just works.